For many years, China and Africa shared remarkable similarities, including colonialism and the burden of poverty. Today, critics of Sino-Africa relations seem to have chosen to ignore this important historical fact. To understand this better, it is important to put some things into perspective. Now, in 2009, China overtook the United States as Africa's biggest trading partner, and Chinese foreign direct investment also grew by leaps and bounds. This period also marked the start of unprecedented Chinese infrastructural development across the African continent. From Cape to Cairo, ports, rails and roads and airports have sprung up across Africa, like the 795-kilometer Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway and the Kenya's 500-kilometer standard gauge railway, the SGR, which was completed over a year ahead of schedule. Well, a paradigm shift started to re-engineer Africa and turn around its fortunes. This is because China adopted a different engagement model with Africa from that which the West had pursued since 1885. Evidence of Chinese engagement with Africa is easier to see in real projects. A 2017 McKinsey report titled Dance of the Lions and Dragons notes that across trade, investment, infrastructure financing, and aid, there is no other country with such depth and breadth of engagement in Africa than China. The Chinese dragons, firms of all sizes and sectors, are bringing capital investment, management know-how, and entrepreneurial energy to every corner of the continent. And in so doing, they are helping to accelerate the progress and development of Africa's lions, as its economies are often dubbed. The Belt and Road Initiative proposed by President Xi Jinping is well synchronized with the African Union's Agenda 2063 connectivity aspirations. Ports, railways, roads and airports will make Africa's Continental Free Trade Area, the CFTA, a reality. The linkages will create a market of 2 billion people and ramp up the continent's GDP to trillions of dollars by 2030. Millions of Africans will be lifted out of poverty. The latest debate, though, is about debt. The now overhyped debt debate that appears to target and label China as predatory is, to say the least, unfair. Africa's debt burden is not new. For many years, it has had more to do with the West than the East. Countries must borrow to grow, and this is something that happens globally, not just in Africa. Chinese money in Africa has been sunk into real projects, not elusive, intangible ideas that have no impact on the well-being of the people. Interestingly, critics of China-Africa engagement have consciously chosen to ignore the fact that top leaders of the Western world in the last year have made a beeline to Africa to cut their own trade deals. For Africa, East or West, whichever fits is best. And for now, we know Chinese investment in Africa is definitely a welcome gesture that originates from China's own experiences and adapts to African realities. So with more Chinese personnel gaining on-the-ground experience here in Africa, we have reasons to believe Sino-African relations will bear more fruit for both sides. And indeed, the more, the merrier.